Good afternoon. I'm Spot On Weather meteorologist Matthew Euler, and today we're going to take a look at the short range weather forecast for Southeast Virginia. All right, so starting off with what's going on currently across the area as of 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 30 May 2017. What we have on the left here is an actual analysis of the different weather station plots. Right now, we currently have a temperature of 76 degrees in Norfolk, and we have a temperature of 74 degrees a little bit further closer to the North Carolina border. Richmond is looking at 75 degrees right now. Overall, the general theme is very light winds across the area, as well as temperatures mainly in the lower to middle 70s, which is typical for this time of the year. And it is also somewhat muggy out there with dew points in the upper 60s and near 70 degrees across the region. Looking at the latest radar image as of 1300 courtesy of NOAA, as of 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, we did have this area of rain that had moved through Southeast Virginia this morning, late this morning and early this afternoon. It's now moving well offshore. This is associated with an upper air disturbance that has moved through the area along a stationary frontal boundary. So as of right now, what we're expecting is that main moisture is pivoting off and off the coast right now. And we do not expect any more in the way of significant rain for today. All right, so let's jump right into the charts. In each of these slides, I'm going to show you a chart. On the left will be the 1,000 to 500 millibar thickness chart, which shows you green areas indicate areas of rain. And then we'll also be showing on the right-hand side of each slide the general flow of the upper level river of air we call the jet stream at 30,000 feet. So starting off with tomorrow, the forecast for 31 May, the last day of May, what we're expecting are some scattered showers and thunderstorms. We do have a stationary frontal boundary that this is typical for this time of the year that's sitting along the Virginia-North Carolina border. Typically what happens is these cold fronts come down from the north, and they just don't have enough push by the jet stream as they did in wintertime. So what happens is these jet stream winds generally blow parallel. The upper level winds blow parallel to the surface frontal systems, and that results in a stalled out front. So we have a stalled out front along the Virginia-North Carolina border, and what we're going to see overall in the short range is a partly cloudy to mostly cloudy conditions with scattered showers and thunderstorms pretty much every day over the next 5 days. So for tomorrow, we do have some scattered rain showers around the area, Southeast Virginia. The jet stream flow, we generally show this troughing. There is an upper level low that's situated just around Hudson Bay, Canada, just north of the Great Lakes. And we do have a trough, a U-shaped pattern here, an upper level trough over the eastern United States, more of a ridge or higher heights over the Intermountain West. And there's another trough of lower pressure coming into the Pacific Northwest. So that's a general upper flow pattern at this time. Okay, now looking at Thursday, June 1st, we do have the moisture is a little bit further offshore as compared to tomorrow, Wednesday, the 31st of May. So what you have is you'll have these little disturbances that will occasionally form, like we had today, that will form along the stationary frontal boundary and just propagate along it, right along it, and then move offshore every 36 to 48 hours or so. And those will lead to enhanced areas of showers and thunderstorms. As of Thursday, we just expect some more of the way of air mass type thunderstorms, some isolated convection, not much in the way of widespread rain coverage by any stretch. And again, that is typical of this time of the year where you get more of a isolated, scattered nature to afternoon heating thunderstorms in the summertime across Southeast Virginia as warm, moist, humid air comes in. Basically around this high pressure system, the Bermuda High is what it's known as. The flow around it clockwise brings in warm southerly and southwesterly winds, which really increases humidity levels across the area. Looking at the 300 millibar, the upper level river of air, the jet stream, the winds, outlined by this little lighter coloring here, the blue coloring, we still see a trough of lower pressure in the upper levels over the eastern United States as a whole. Not much change. We do have that ridge over the Intermountain West trying to build slightly east towards the Central Plain states. So you'd expect at this time of the year that anywhere under these upper level ridges you would have much warmer temperatures. For Friday, 2 June, again, some scattered showers and thunderstorms around the area. mainly due to this frontal boundary that just continues to sit along the North Carolina-Virginia border. There's a lot more moisture down in the Gulf of Mexico this time of year, as you can see by a lot of the rain. The yellow is heavier rain showers and some thunderstorm activity. Again, the upper air pattern remains generally troughing, continues, upper level low situated over eastern Canada. So that will continue to direct a troughing type pattern. Most of the jet stream energy, however, is over lower Michigan into New York State, into New England states. That's where the general flow of the jet stream is. Looking at an 80 knot wind speed over those locations, well north of Southeast Virginia. So what does that mean? That means that we're not expecting much in the way of winds at all in these type of patterns. Saturday's forecast 3 June. Again, stationary boundary in the area. Now we got another wave of low pressure, 1,010 millibars, trying to ride along that area, that frontal boundary, which would enhance the rainfall coverage by Saturday across the area. Again, the trough remains in place. The jet stream level, Sunday, 4 June. Again, the stationary boundary remains. We do have some scattered showers and thunderstorms for Sunday, the 4th of June. And please, just to let you know, this is not an all-day washout by any means. These are those type of thunderstorms that pop up mainly during the heating of the day that can occasionally ruin or dampen your outdoor plans, but definitely not an all-day washout. If you have weekend plans this weekend, it doesn't look wet all day. Again, this upper level pattern shows more of a troughing in the eastern United States, but you will notice that this ridge or upper level height area is trying to push its way east, trying to basically make its way through that upper level trough to the east. All right, so short range forecast final thoughts. Overall, we're looking at a summer-like pattern that's settling in across southeastern Virginia and the mid-Atlantic as a whole. We do have a stationary frontal boundary that's typically sets up along the North Carolina-Virginia border, resulting in unsettled weather. That happens a lot in the summertime because, again, the jet stream just doesn't have the same type of perpendicular component to really push fronts all the way through. And it just doesn't have the same strength as it does in the wintertime when there's a larger temperature contrast between the equatorial regions and the colder northern latitudes. So the weaker temperature contrast between the lower and the higher latitudes and lack of wind energy, usually the upper level winds are much weaker and parallel the surface fronts. So we get these stationary boundaries that typically set up along the North Carolina-Virginia border. That is typically the case, and it's happening right now. We occasionally get these waves or areas of low pressure that occasionally ride along the stationary boundaries that result in lifting mechanisms, and then more widespread showers and thunderstorm coverage when these areas of low pressure move through. Example was this morning across southeast Virginia when we had that enhanced rain there for about an hour to an hour and a half. Temperatures are going to remain very warm in the short range with higher humidity levels remaining as well. This is the time of year where we get typically a very warm wind from the southerly southwest direction, and that's from the maritime tropical air. That's the air mass that typically predominates the east coast of the United States in the summertime. And again, that's happening as expected for this time of year. No surprises there. The sun's altitude, how high it is in the sky right now, that plays a big role this time of year as far as if you get these breaks in the clouds, or with the cloud cover like it is today, the temperatures are being held down into this, mid to upper 70s. But if you get just the peaks of sun to come out and break through those clouds, that can result in a pretty quick spike in air temperatures because the sun is so high and it's so strong this time of year. So your temperatures can rise rather quickly on the order of 5 to 7 to 8 degrees in short order. And then with the heat and humidity, what they typically lead to, the warmer temperatures and the higher humidity typically lead to rising air motion, a more buoyant atmosphere, to where if you get the heating of the day, that typically leads to the development of isolated to scattered thunderstorm activity most days during the afternoon, early evening hours. And then things calm down after you lose the heating of the day. Atmosphere kind of settles in and it's not as unstable at that point. And then just a reminder, hurricane season is coming quickly. It officially begins on 1 June already, believe it or not. And the NOAA Outlook, the Tropical Prediction Center, branch of NOAA, is forecasting for above average activity across the Atlantic. And their latest information is indicating that the El Nino typically strong El Ninos, moderate to strong El Ninos, typically lead to lower hurricane activity across the Atlantic Ocean. And in this case, this year, the El Nino is not expected to be nearly as strong as what it was the last couple years. So with a weaker El Nino now, forecasters and researchers there at the Tropical Prediction Center are forecasting for an above average hurricane season. And we've already had Arlene in the Atlantic Ocean already, even before the hurricane season has begun. So now's the time to start thinking about those hurricane preparedness kits, your emergency supplies at home. Start thinking about a plan if you have to evacuate, you and your family have to leave the Southeast Virginia area and head inland towards Richmond or maybe up the coast further away from the water. We'll just have to wait and see how it all plays out. Obviously, we had Matthew last year, Hurricane Matthew, which was quite a storm for the area as we had winds gusting over 50 miles per hour and quite a bit of rainfall and caused some power outages across the area. So we'll just keep our eyes on it here at Spot On Weather. Looking forward to taking you through some of the summer season here. Get ready, and we'll keep you informed of all the latest data. You can find us on Facebook, you can find us on Twitter, and of course here on the YouTube channel, Spot On Weather. If we're not spot on, we're not doing it right. I hope everybody has a great Tuesday.